That janitor was nothing but a loser who had not made it as a SEAL. The young applicant spat, kicking over the recently emptied trash can the old man had just removed. The weathered hand of the janitor quietly picked up each scrap of refuse, his collar hiding the edge of a dated Trident tattoo. Standing across the grounds, the Master Chief Instructor's expression locked, however, on the tattoo. How many heroes are hidden behind ordinary appearances, and what happens when forgotten truths come to light? Welcome to Deep Story Dispatch. Let's uncover what really happened. Tom Sullivan arrived at the Naval Special Warfare Training Center in Coronado at precisely 5:30 every morning. By then, he'd already completed his 5-mile run, a routine unchanged for 8 years. The 62-year-old janitor glided through the building like a specter, unseen by most, despite his importance. Day 5 of Hell Week today. Floors were particularly revolting. Vomit, mud, and bloody bandages from candidates testing their bodies beyond human endurance. Tom cleaned with precision, his movements practiced from decades of training. "Morning, sir." Tom saluted respectfully to Commander Hayes, who strode by without acknowledgement as was his custom. What they didn't realize was that 70% of the base personnel pulled straws to stay away from cleaning up during Hell Week. Tom never volunteered. He knew what these young men went through, perhaps better than anybody. "The most promising young doctor I've seen in decades," his professor had said the week before. Observation of Tom's apartment was minimal. A small table, a bed, and a drawer filled with things no one at the base had ever seen. 3 purple hearts and pictures from a past life. A life before he was invisible. "You, janitor," Jake Peterson's voice rang out over the messole. The current SEAL class was especially arrogant, being led by the former star college football player. "We need to sweep aisle 5. Jake's buddies giggled as he crashed his water glass on purpose. Tom crept up on the floor with his mop. "My dad was the Force Recon," Jake declared proudly to his watching crowd. "Which is why says the difference between operators and support staff is just some people have it, not others." Tom listened without reaction, sweeping with the rest as other candidates added to the filth. This was something of a routine, the janitor challenge they'd come up with, awarding beers to whoever kept Tom cleaning the most. Alicia, a cafeteria worker, shook her head. "They've gotten 3 people fired already. We actually draw straws when they make requests." Last month, Tom had requested a schedule adjustment for a VA medical appointment. The administrative officer denied it, citing operational priorities. Meanwhile, the officer's recreation room received new furniture. Budget constraints, they explained, in denying upgrades to maintenance equipment. The breaking point came Thursday afternoon. After a particularly brutal training exercise, Jake stumbled and vomiting violently on the freshly mopped floor. "Hey, trash man, I made a contribution to your art project," he called out to snickering peers. Tom silently cleaned the mess, ignoring the cramping in his right leg, shrapnel damage from decades ago. As he bent down, his collar shifted, revealing the edge of a faded tattoo. "My bag costs more than you'll make in a year," Jake continued, deliberately echoing his friends. "Bet your mother never taught you proper cleaning techniques." "My mother passed away when I was 19, sir," Tom said quietly. Master Chief Harrison Peters, standing nearby, caught sight of the tattoo. His coffee cup froze halfway to his lips, eyes widening with sudden recognition. Tom sensed the look, quickly adjusted his collar and hurried away, avoiding eye contact. Jake laughed, "Probably got that tattoo to pretend he was something special." In the maintenance closet, Tom methodically organized cleaning supplies, hands moving automatically while his mind wandered elsewhere. The door opened, revealing Master Chief Peters. "Sullivan," Peters said, "not a question. I thought you looked familiar." Tom straightened, but said nothing. "Why are you doing this?" Peters asked. "Mopping floors for these entitled kids. Job needs doing," Tom replied simply. "Someone has to." Peters shook his head. "I'll talk to the commander." "This isn't right. With respect, Master Chief. Leave it alone." That evening, Peters searched through personnel files after hours. Tom's official record was suspiciously thin, heavily redacted, but one photo remained. Operation Eagle Claw, Iran, 1980. A young Tom Sullivan stood among a group of operators, faces serious before the disastrous hostage rescue attempt. A classified citation mentioned extraordinary heroism under extreme conditions with details blacked out. Most telling was the rare SSBIPR code, the highest security clearance possible. Peters found more. VA records showing multiple surgeries for injuries consistent with combat trauma. A name on a classified memorial for covert operations not on the public wall. References to Desert One, the ill-fated staging area where 8 servicemen died during the failed Iran hostage rescue. The next morning, Jake returned with friends, continuing their harassment campaign. Videos of their janitor challenge had spread among candidates, becoming a perverse status symbol. The customer is always right, Tom's supervisor advised when he reported the harassment. Just stay out of their way. We can't alienate next year's operators. I've submitted 3 already, Tom said. And they'll remain submitted. That's life. By afternoon, videos were going around where candidates made a mess for the veteran janitor in funny ways. Local news reporting on the SEAL training mentioned elite warriors without mentioning support staff at all. That's service industry life, another maintenance guy said to Tom. You absorbed the abuse. Once again, Tom's request to have his equipment repaired was declined. Necessary cost-cutting measures, the memo read. Meanwhile, the officers' club received new weight equipment. That evening, Tom ate alone in the maintenance staff area, separate from operational personnel as policy dictated. He quietly reviewed his sister's recent letter. The VA had reduced his benefits again, claiming his injuries were not service-connected. As he returned to work, 2 administrative staffers whispered, if he was really something special, he wouldn't be scrubbing toilets. The base newsletter arrived, featuring excellence in service profiles exclusively showcasing operators, never support staff. The commander's column emphasized the critical importance of our warriors' mission without mentioning those who maintain the facilities. Peters approached Tom again during a quiet moment. Some serve in the light, others serve in the shadows, Tom told him when pressed about his past. Now I just serve. Peters retrieved a yearbook from the 1980s SEAL training class, finding Tom in the team photo. He discovered more. Tom had been part of the original SEAL Team 6 formation under Richard Marino. His operations spanned 3 decades across 27 countries. An officer passing by accidentally mentioned Desert One survivor upon seeing Tom quickly silencing himself when others looked confused. Later that week, the base held a memorial service for fallen SEALs. Maintenance staff were asked to finish cleaning before the ceremony, but weren't invited to attend. Tom watched from a distance as Jake and other candidates stood proudly among attendees, talking loudly about joining the Brotherhood. That evening, Tom meticulously cleaned the memorial wall, bearing the names of fallen SEALs, taking particular care with each engraved letter. He paused at several names, touching them gently. Jake walked in with friends. Hey janitor, we need special cleaning for graduation tomorrow. Got to look perfect when we join the ranks of real warriors. Tom remained silent, continuing his careful work. What's wrong? Don't care about real heroes, Jake pushed. Guess that's why you're just pushing a mop. Who bears the greatest responsibility when workers are treated this way? Employers, customers, or society? Share your perspective. The next morning, Jake and 4 other candidates cornered Tom in the equipment room during preparation for their graduation ceremony. Hey trash man, Jake called out. We need you to clean something special before our big day. Tom continued organizing supplies, ignoring the interruption. I'm talking to you, old man. Jake stepped closer, invading Tom's space. Don't they teach janitors to respond when future operators speak? Tom remained focused on his task, methodically arranging cleaning solutions. Frustrated by Tom's non-reaction, one candidate deliberately knocked over the cleaning cart, sending chemicals spilling across the floor. Oops, accident. What's the matter? Jake taunted. Too weak to stand up for yourself. Bet you never had what it takes. The door opened suddenly. Master Chief Peters stood there, face granted hard. At attention candidates, now the atmosphere changed instantly. The candidates snapped to position, suddenly aware of the dangerous tone in the instructor's voice. You have exactly 30 seconds to explain why you're harassing this man, Peters demanded. Jake stammered. Just having some fun with the janitor, Master Chief. No disrespect intended. No disrespect. Peters' voice dropped lower. You have no idea who you've been disrespecting. The Master Chief turned slightly. Commander Taylor, sir, I believe you should hear this. The base commander entered, expression grim. He nodded almost imperceptibly to Tom before addressing the candidates. Master Chief. Peters pointed to Tom's neck. Sir, permission to explain the significance of that tattoo. The commander hesitated, then nodded. Proceed. That Trident design isn't standard issue. It was only given to the original planned counters of SEAL Team 6 under Commander Marenko. Jake's face showed confusion. Peters continued, Mr. Sullivan here was part of SEAL Team 6's original formation. He completed 13 combat deployments, including our earliest counter-terrorism operations. The candidate was frozen in place, as Peters revealed Tom's history. Participation in Operation Eagle Claw, surviving the disastrous Desert One incident in Iran in 1980 when 8 servicemen died. Classified operations spanning 3 decades across 27 countries. 3 Purple Hearts, and numerous classified commendations never publicly disclosed. The underwater infiltration methods you learned last month, he came up with those. They are still being taught today, because something better has not yet been invented. Commander Taylor said softly. Following retirement, Mr. Sullivan remained a special technical advisor on classified operations. His position here is also partly a cover for ongoing security advisement. The room was in stunned silence. Jake's face had lost all its color. The man you've been mocking, the man whose job you've made harder every day, has sacrificed more for this country than most of us ever will, Peter said. Tom finally spoke, his voice quiet, but commanding immediate respect. I don't need your apologies, but the other maintenance staff deserve your respect every day. Jake stepped forward. Sir, I didn't know. Tom cut him off. That's precisely the point. Respect isn't earned by who you were. It's earned by who you are every single day. Commander Taylor announced, effective immediately. I'm instituting policy changes regarding treatment of all base personnel. In a private moment afterward, Tom reluctantly removed his work shirt at the commander's request, revealing extensive combat scars that mapped a history of violence and survival. These aren't what make me worthy of respect, Tom said. Neither is my service record. It's how I consistently treat others. The SEAL candidates, upon learning the truth, volunteered to clean the facilities themselves before graduation. Later, Peters found Tom alone by the memorial wall. Why did you never say anything? Why let them treat you that way? Tom traced a name on the wall. Bobby Miles, my swim buddy at Desert One. He never came home. Got a proper memorial, proper honors. He gestured toward the maintenance area, where other workers continued their invisible. Some men receive accolades, others do not. But the work is still significant. 6 months went by. All transformations propagated the Naval Special Warfare Training Center. Mandatory appreciation training for support personnel was instituted at the base for all SEAL prospects. Jake, sporting the Trident he'd won, took the first training session himself, describing how he'd underestimated an actual warrior. Tom reluctantly agreed to share experiences with candidates on an intermittent basis, focusing on not his classified activities, but teamwork and humility. His personnel record was properly returned. His entire service record recognized in base historical records. Sullivan's standard was set by Commander Taylor, appreciation of all personnel, no matter what position, as a quantifiable evaluation factor for candidates. The base newsletter published the Heroes Among Us series celebrating contributions of support staff. The test of our character, the commander wrote in his column, isn't how we act toward the decorated, but how we act toward those whose decorations we cannot observe. Equipment upgrades were given priority to maintenance personnel. The policy mandating separate facilities for operation and support personnel was dropped. All now dined in the same mess hall. A scholarship fund for children of support personnel was established through an anonymous donation, reported to be from many graduated SEALs. Local veterans organizations rewrote membership standards to explicitly include all who served in any role. Often the most courageous acts are performed, not in combat. Jake explained to his graduating class, but in continuing to serve without reward. His last qualification essay was an exclusive examination of lessons learned about service and true leadership. Naval Special Warfare Command started examining recognition policies for non-combatants. Encouraged by Tom's tale, the word spread throughout the military regarding seen and unseen service. On a spring morning, Tom stood in the commander's office, retirement documents at last in hand after 8 years as a cleaner and 40 years of total service. Sure about this? Commander Taylor asked. We can use you here. Tom nodded. Time for fishing. For all Tom's objections, his retirement ceremony went off with full honors. Trains of retired operators, legends in the SEAL world emerged, disclosing Tom's real place among his peers. Jake, a freshly anointed SEAL himself, stood at attention in the front row, visibly shaken. Tom delivered an unusually lengthy address. My highest privilege wasn't classified operations. It was serving with Americans of all types, performing all duties with equal commitment. The base opened the new maintenance facility renamed Sullivan Support Center despite Tom's protests. Commander Taylor gave Tom his janitor's uniform framed in a shadow box next to his worn-out Trident. In his final act, Tom personally scrubbed the SEAL memorial once more, showing Jake how to do it properly. Always bottom to top, he told her softly. And extra special with the names. Tom departed the base not via the staff gate, but the main gates with full honors traditionally accorded to outgoing senior officers. SEALs, instructors, and maintenance personnel formed up in salute. At home, Tom finally opened the drawer where his medals were kept. Carefully, he put his janitor's identification card beside them. Equal honors for equal service. A civilized world is measured by the way we honor those who serve behind the scenes. Have you ever met someone whose greatness was masked behind a simple function? Has someone's surprising past ever put things into perspective? Share your story in the comments. Subscribe to learn more about stories of unsung heroes and times when justice finally catches up. At American Heroes Untold, we don't merely tell stories, we uncover the truth behind the uniform. This is where past heroes are remembered, where a belated recognition can still mend wounds, and where you, the audience, can see the moment respect is owed. If your heart has ever been stirred at the image of silent dignity, join us.